All right, this is SFBarkast. I'm Jeff Cleary.
I'm Andrew Louder.
And Andrew, where are we today?
We are at MobyDick.
MobyDick in the Castro.
Yeah, and yeah, let's not make any jokes.
I don't know where you're going with that.
I like MobyDick, Great White Whale, Castro.
Yeah, spell it out for me.
I'm not sure if I even get it myself.
Wasn't there was some of the great old Castro bars had these great puns where it's like
Right.
the men's room or the jackhammer.
Like, the big gaping asshole.
Right, exactly. That one too.
Right, that was in Noe Valley, I think.
Yeah, it's more of a Hayes Valley bar.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, MobyDick, we are at 18th, and what is this? Is this Hartford?
Yeah, I think it is.
It's Hartford.
It's like one of those little mini streets in between the major streets. But it's like a block down from Castro, a couple blocks over from Market.
Yeah.
Like it's right in the heart of the Castro.
And for as long as I've lived in the city, this bar has always been the same.
Yeah, it's you can totally count on it. Like it's got this very sort of like folk classy vibe to it, where like the letters are these big gold classy letters on the sign, where it just is like MobyDick, and and then it's usually like filled to the brim with like festive gentlemen.
Yes, in the afternoon.
Right.
If I had to say, my favorite things about this bar so far is they've got 3 pinball machines in the back.
Yeah.
Right next to the pool table. So those 2 things are good.
Right.
But they have this big, beautiful aquarium right behind the bar.
Yeah.
Where they have...
I believe I read online it's a 250-gallon aquarium.
Is it saltwater?
It might be.
I think
it looks like those might be saltwater fish.
Yeah, because that's a puffer fish. And
is that one of those like naked gunfish that attacked Leslie Nielsen's hand?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's Ricardo Montalban's fighting fish from the first movie.
Oh, no.
It's an important visual gag.
I'm talking about the puffer fish in there.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the sort of one with all the shit all over it.
You're not a
the fighting
zoologist, are you? The one with all the shit on it.
That's right. The Latin name is Shitus all over us.
I was talking to the bartender one time here, and I was asking him about the puffer fish.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, so you ever see him go?" He's like, "Yeah, every few months the puffer fish will do that, and it's like a big deal." But
everybody freaks the fuck out.
Everybody freaks out. Like free round of beers.
Close down the bar,
and
it may never stop.
But he said it only happens every few months.
Wow.
And he was telling me, he's like, "Yeah, it can't be good for them."
Yeah, you think so,
you
right?
only do it. They only do it when they're like scared or anxious or something.
Right.
And but you just basically make your body explode.
Well, it's kind of like DMT or whatever like that. They said that like your body releases that when you're born and when you die. But so that's probably cool. But
also, when you hang out at my house.
Exactly. But like if you did it like every day, like it would probably be really bad for you.
Yeah, I would think so. DMT, Jesus.
Not booze though.
Not booze.
Thank God for that.
I can speak to the DMT thing. I can spep to the DMV thing as well.
Well, the one you did, it was probably not fake, but like what do they call it?
Artificial.
Well, no, like they made it in a lab,
synthesized.
Synthesized, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was watching something online about the one you get from like a certain frog in Sonora, Mexico, or something like that, and you have to like smoke its glands.
Can we stop licking frogs, people? Stop licking.
But supposedly that's like the pure DMT that is the really not the stepped on shit that you had.
Where'd you get this DMT?
That's right.
From a Mexican frog.
This is turmeric. I know my Indian spices.
Yeah, well, they also say that, isn't it like if you happen upon a dead body,
right.
What you should do is you should eat one of their glands, and it's like super adrenaline.
So you eat the top of their kidneys, like the adrenal gland?
I have no idea. I'm not doing this.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. Right now, I'm thinking who have I been talking to and hanging out with who told me this? Yeah,
who said this so calmly lives in this Mad Max universe where look, if you ever come across a field of dead bodies, see if you can harvest all of their kidneys.
It's not like a dinner party conversation where you're like, the next time you come upon a dead body, Jeff.
Right. If you're wandering around,
Yeah, and I'm not saying go and seek out a dead body, but
Well,
if you
yeah.
find one, what you can do is
What you can do in lieu of calling the police or doing what you should do when you find a dead body, you can go ahead and carve it up and eat part of it to get a quick buzz.
So, Andrew, a lot's been going on this week. We have the
whole damn city's on fire as usual.
Portland. I mean, not Portland. Baltimore is on fire.
Oh,
and
that is
there's
on fire
all
as
this
well.
like rioting in Baltimore.
True.
And there was that massive earthquake in Nepal.
Parts of Nepal are probably also on fire.
So, let's start the show off by talking about what's going to happen at Bruce Jenner's balls.
Exactly. Well, yeah, all of those other topics aside.
Oh yes, but you think Bruce Jenner was a little like upset at like the Nepal earthquake? And, like, oh,
kind of in the same way that like
I was trending last week, and that fucking earthquake had to come along.
right, like Farrah Fawcett, like what was it? What was it?
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, right? Like died the same day. Like
Yeah.
and so her ghost is probably all pissed off at Michael Jackson's ghost, and not for having sex with kids as most of the other ghosts are.
So let's not talk about Bruce Jenner. What about Baltimore?
Oh boy. Well, so I guess we sort of had to come to like a gay bar to bring up such like morose, terrible news. So like
I
we're
don't
trying
follow
to, like,
you, but okay.
we're sort of trying to offset, I guess, like the shittiness of the news as usual.
Oh
but,
right, yeah.
By going somewhere gay and happy,
Festive.
festive. I'm sorry. We're not allowed to say gay anymore.
Not you aren't.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, you're right. I'm also supposed to be 60 feet away from this place. Oh no, but but you brought up Baltimore, and like, yeah, at this point, I mean, I don't want to call it fatigue because I'm not sick of it to the point where I wouldn't take action in the in the right environment and like that. But I am sick of hearing white people talk about it. Like and
White people talk. Oh, how so?
Just about like what's wrong with what's happening, what should be happening,
Jesus.
what black people are entitled to, what black people do,
What?
all the stuff that they know
Who have you
nothing
been
about.
talking to?
Well, no, I'm just talking about like on social media and like the news
Oh, yeah.
and everything like that. I mean, like you have these like all these wide-ranging same exact opinions from 6 months ago being trotted out again, like as if the police have done nothing wrong in any case, and like and we have to find a way to like
I do hate that
destroy
argument.
these communities or something. It's just like, what do you no idea what you're talking about. And,
I do
and,
hate-
and at this point, I'm just kind of bored by it rather than like
Yeah.
angered by it.
I hate the argument where people are like, "Well, they're destroying all this property that had nothing to do with this police killing."
Well,
And
it's
the
sort of
thing
like
is, like,
property being a human being, like
Yeah,
sort
dude,
of
like,
thing, where it's
a
like,
kid is dead.
who's going to think of the property?
Right? Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, like they're basically trying to angle it like, all these business owners, they had nothing to do with it. It's like, yeah, well, you know what? It's when you have a community that has been disenfranchised and they feel like there's no recourse. The systems that are in place that are supposed to deliver justice aren't working for them. Like, yeah, like that's how people like lash out.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you
Shut
have to
up,
realize
white
that,
people.
Yeah, these are not people that can that will go to like calm, rational PTA meetings and discuss what should be done about like their dead kids. Like they're reasonably fired up and pissed and think that the system doesn't work for them at all, so they're not going to use the system and like.
Right. I mean, like
that's understandable. Like that's and there was somebody online today was talking about how, well, the kind of protests that they're doing don't work and have never worked. And it's like, well, apart from every single uprising that ever happened ever,
Yeah.
it's like this, this country and pretty much every other country was founded by people that were like, fuck this, let's tear that building down and start all over again.
Yeah, and you know what? Like a lot of these people who are like complaining about the protesters and stuff are very headstrong. It's like if you were in that situation, you never would stop throwing a temper tantrum.
Right.
Like if you
Yeah,
were
exactly.
like you felt like the institutions around you basically didn't stand for it and didn't
Right.
work with you at all, you would just be throwing shit fits all day long.
Right. Like if somebody tried
mean-
to take your guns away, you would probably
Oh.
walk through the street with your gun hanging out because you have an open carry permit.
Dude, you mentioned social media. One of the things someone has said to me in the past that social media is really it's problematic because like they hate like seeing people like spout off if when they don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
And I know people who have like actually exited social media because it's like too annoying for them to see people like just kind of be ignorant in public.
Yeah.
But
is that possible though? I mean, like once you're exposed to something, can you just say like, oh well, I'm not going to look at that anymore?
No,
and
I mean,
now
like,
it's not going to exist.
You know, you exit Twitter, you exit Facebook.
But I'm saying like those people like sort of do that almost with this like intent of like, well, I'm not going to look at that stuff anymore, and then it won't bother me because I won't think that it exists. Like,
it's true.
It's like, well, but you've already seen it. You can't really unsee, stuff like that to some extent. I mean, like I can understand like not engaging.
Well, I had a friend who was going to exit like Facebook and Twitter because, like he was getting into too many fights with people,
right.
like people he knows or even people he tangentially knew.
Yeah, yeah. And
but I was telling
I've done
him
the same thing.
But I was telling him, you know what? He was telling me how much he hates Facebook. And I was saying, like, no, you have to look at it from the other angle. It's like Facebook is like a tool.
Facebook hates you.
Well, that may be true as well. But, like, you got to look at Facebook as a tool because now you know which of the people you know are fucking lunatics.
Right.
And believe me, I have
look at it as a tool or a whole bunch of tools.
A crowd of tools.
Yeah.
And believe me, I have like a few people that I'm friends with who I just check their Facebook or their posts just to see what the lunatic right feels
exactly,
like.
Yeah,
and like, oh,
like,
it's right. Yeah.
Like the way that almost backfires is that I think that those people get an overinflated sense of like self-importance because so many people follow them, but they don't realize how many people follow them just because they think they're stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like all they see is the statistic that like 1,000 people and like old high school friends that I never thought I would agree with like are following me. Like they all must agree with everything I say, and it's like most of them probably just think you're a dickhead.
I have this one friend who she is very conservative. And whenever something like this happens, like she's always posting like stuff from the right side.
Right.
And she posted this photo of these 3 cops, each holding up a sign. The first sign said police. The second sign said lives. And the last sign said matters. Police lives matters?
Right.
It's like they can't even get the fucking tense right? Jesus Christ.
English lessons matter.
Exactly. Stay paying attention in school matters.
Right. Christ.
What about Nepal? How about that?
I know that's another sort of gut punch. But I mean
where's what's the death toll up? Because like whenever
they're saying that like once they go into all the like rural cities like they're expecting it to like triple from that point because and there's just no way to get a hold of anybody there. So.
It's so it's like the it's like whenever there's like a massive like tragedy or like catastrophe like that. Whatever they say initially is like, oh yeah, it's like 12. They estimate like 1,200 people may have died.
Right.
It's like that number is going up.
Yeah, like
every single day.
Those were the ones that washed into the building they were counting in or whatever.
Dude, it was the same thing with remember the the day after Christmas tsunami that hit India.
Yeah.
It was like initially they were like, yeah, they think 10,000 people may have perished.
Right.
It's like like a week later, it's like 250,000.
Yeah. It's like oops. Like I guess obviously you don't want to like estimate way too high and cause a panic where there shouldn't be one, but yeah, it's like that's obviously going to be terrible. Although, and I won't say this person's name. I read this story about like some guy that I think he was from around here, but I think he must have been because he worked for Google, I think. But he was on his second attempt of Mount Everest.
Oh yeah,
and like killed in a avalanche there, whatever. But like his family and loved ones and everything like started this whole foundation for him and everything like that, and like put out this whole like press release, like sort of painting him to be this like huge hero, and like. But you read about him, and it's just like he went to Burning Man, and then he went to like sail around the Maldives for 6 months, and then he went to like climb Everest, and then he went to climb Everest again, and like it's like no, this guy was just a rich douche. It's like he was, he seemed pretty hateful actually, like to most people. Like they're trying to be like, oh, but he's like so much better than like all the 20,000 other idiots that like got crushed by their house.
And believe me, like if I had that type of money, I would probably do that. But like I wouldn't want people to start like painting me like some type of hero because like I made some computer money early, and then
like
now,
if I go to Burning Man, like fucking keep it a secret to me, way past my grave.
That's not for public knowledge.
Right.
I remember back in the days when people had the proper amount of like shame and humiliation for going to Burning Man.
Exactly.
Now it just seems like people are like, they walk the streets with impunity, these burners.
Right. Well, I mean, it's weird that just a couple weeks ago or maybe a month ago, that whole sort of story came out that they're having to send these like expeditions up to Everest just to clean up all the shit and like
because people
dead bodies and like it's just like this trash heap, like
now
28,000 feet in the air. But it's just weird that like that they have this story of this guy like right after that, like essentially polluting the top of Mount Everest with another corpse.
Jeez. On that note.
So thoughts and prayers out to those killed in the fall tragedy.
We're going to dedicate this to that whoever that person was. All right, you ready to take a break?
Yeah.
All right, this is
Try to come back with something a little more on the cheery side. Is that possible?
I don't know if it's possible. This is SFBarkast. We are at MobyDick. All right, and we are back at MobyDick.
MobyDick, with my mouth full of something. Excuse me.
Yeah, Andrew.
They have free snacks here. I swear to God.
What's your policy on the snacks? I think we may have talked about this a long time ago, but I had one friend who never wanted to eat like the snacks that they put out at bars.
Yeah, what is he, Felix Unger or something? Like,
yeah. Well, he said to me, he's like, oh yeah, well the guy who was sitting here before, who has had his hands in there, he doesn't wash his hand when he goes to the bathroom, and so then he comes back, puts his hand in here. So like I don't know, like
guess what? Like you just when you walked in here, a bus drove by and like probably took a year off of your life from like the fumes. What are you gonna do?
Well, they say your average person eats like 5 spiders a year. Because
on purpose?
No, while you're sleeping.
Oh, okay. Because
I
only eat 3 or 4 on purpose.
And the spiders, like, you have your mouth open, and the spiders go into your mouth to lay their eggs, and then you eat them.
Right.
You put mustard on it.
And if they happen to crawl into your ear, then they wrap themselves around your cerebral cortex and cause you to do weird shit.
So don't worry about the guy not washing his hands after the bathroom.
And that's what happened, honey. Or don't you believe in science?
I'm sure there's a reason why there are millions of spider eggs, with little baby spiders coming out of my ear. What is your favorite part of the Castro, Andrew?
Do you mean experience or location? Like, what's your favorite part of the Castro? The people, the parties. The Castro Theater is really cool, and like when you're standing like right around there and everything like that, the view from there is really cool because it has that valley dip to it, and there's like a bunch of houses and stuff like that, and it sort of instantly reminds me anyway of like Halloween's past. Yeah. Like walking up and down that, and like and it's such a cool like night vibe too. Like when you have all the wires hanging down, like and everything like that.
I understand, especially from the perspective of like the people who live in the Castro, why they put the kibosh down on Halloween in the Castro.
Yeah,
but sure that was so much fun.
Oh yeah,
like if you're somebody who's like moved to the city in the last like 8 years. Like you missed some great parties,
right?
Because like the Castro on Halloween, they should just rope off,
right?
Streets, and
it's the difference between living in an apartment that's worth $100,000 versus living in an apartment that's worth $4 million.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like all of a sudden or especially if you moved in like in the last 3 years and actually paid that much for it, you're like, hey, I don't want this riffraff like doing $500,000 worth of damage to my property.
Right, exactly. What do you mean? You don't like people pissing on your doorstep?
Get with the times, pal.
It's Halloween, But yeah, it was really like when you were standing during that celebration. If you were standing up at like Market and Castro, you just see like you look down Market Street, and just as far as you can see, there's just people, and you look down bedlam, Castro Street. Same thing. Right. And it's like they say that they used to get like 300,000 people coming into this area. And I totally missed. And then, of course, someone had to start shooting and stabbing someone, and they put the kibosh down on it.
Right. They said we can put up with a lot, but when you start shooting and stabbing people,
what did I tell you about the shooting and stabbing?
we will turn this city around.
One of my favorite things in the Castro is Hot Cookie. Do you know where that is? It's like this little cookie store.
Yeah.
Where they make like these amazing cookies.
Is cookie a code for something, or is it an actual cookie?
You know in like England they call cookies biscuits?
I believe Hannibal Buress has a bit about that, where he tells England to go fuck themselves. He's going to call them cookies, because then what the hell do you call biscuits?
Well, I didn't know that Hannibal did something about that. I was going to tell the whole like all of England to not fuck themselves, but get with it.
Oh, okay.
Stop calling cookies biscuits.
Yeah. Elevator is fine instead of lift.
Yes.
It's a trunk, not a boot.
It's a garage, not a carport.
Put gas in your car. Stop filling it with petrol.
and stop using those goddamn liters.
That's right.
You know what? Like during the break, I was like watching the video. They're playing like dance, like pop music on the.
Why wouldn't you?
And I'm like,
middle of the afternoon.
I'm fascinated by it because I never get to like watch stuff like this, and you got to hand it to sort of the dance pop scene because they had like a meeting and they said, okay, no more subtlety, like none. I don't. They just had like a video for this called. Taste. It said the song was called "Taste Like Candy,"
right.
And it's like this scantily clad.
What's it about? I mean, what's it really about? If you think about it,
it's like this scantily clad girl, like riding like a popsicle between her legs, and like just like like doing splits and saying about how it tastes like candy. And I'm just like, yeah, no more subtlety. Okay.
Well, I don't know why the San Francisco gay community would enjoy something like that, though. I mean, like they're usually very reserved.
Well, you never know what people are going to like.
I guess so. But it's funny, though, actually, like speaking of that sort of thing, the website for this bar is one of the funniest bar websites I've seen, just because the homepage is completely like set up like normal. I mean, and there's all these links to like what's going on during the week, what's going on Saturday, and pretty much every link that you click, it pops up with like a Katy Perry video and tells you why you should like it. It's just like, and it gives you none of the information you requested.
That's great.
I enjoyed that thoroughly.
What else? I like the Castro Theater is great.
Right.
If you've never gone to that, go to that.
After like if you or you don't even have to go to the parade, but if you during Gay Pride weekend,
Pride,
it's just it's a mess around here, but it's a fun mess.
Well, they also have this thing. Traditionally, it was called Pink Saturday, so it was the Saturday before the Gay Pride parade.
Yeah.
And they just turned like Castro and Market into like this huge like dance club.
I heard that like Pink was it Pink Friday or Pink Saturday?
Pink Saturday.
Pink Saturday. Pink Saturday is just a gimmick by the pink companies to sell more pink.
Could be, sir. But like that weekend is really great, and I think I may have said this before, but I had a friend who was gay in town, and I was like, "What are you doing for Pride weekend?" And he's like, "Oh, fucking Pride weekend." I was just like,
so over it.
Like, he was like totally over it, and I had to like go to him and go like, "Hey, you know what? It's probably not even for you anymore because like you live in San Francisco, right? So you're like every weekend is Pride weekend
like
for you.
You're still on the fence, you know."
Right.
Like sometimes I don't think that gay people should have rights.
No, but you do see people who like are coming in from out of town. Like 500,000 people come in from out of town, and a lot of them are probably coming from places where they can't like walk down the middle of the street and say I'm gay. So like, and you can tell those people when you go to the parade, and they're just like they're so excited. Right. But it's like if you're living in San Francisco for 20 years and you're just like, oh, I'm so over that. It's like well, not everybody's
wandering around like Fred Armisen, shouting at the Gay Pride parade. This is over.
Yeah. The Castro Theater I really like. I
mean, the funny thing is that there's a lot of sort of talk that the Castro is sort of losing a lot of its quote unquote gayness because like it's getting too expensive to live here, and like gay people are just moving to Oakland or
I actually read somewhere that the number one question that is asked of people when you tell them that you live in San Francisco, the number one question now is how can you afford it? And that question has taken over from the question that was always about San Francisco.
What, are you gay?
Are you gay?
Yeah,
when you used to, back in the day when you tell people I live in the SF, they're like, oh, are you gay?
Right.
Now it's like, how do you afford it? So is that like a step up?
Right. And then the next one will be, how do you afford being gay? Like, I just assume like, wow, being gay, you must make a lot of money at it because like San Francisco is like one of the richest cities in the world.
Yeah, to say like, I live in San Francisco. Oh, really? How do you afford it? I'm a male prostitute.
Right. It's like, oh, it costs a fortune to live in Dubai. Well, that must be a really gay city.
So let's go on to another subject that our gay listeners will love: sports.
There we go.
We have a big sports weekend coming up.
True.
Well, I mean,
for several reasons. I mean, there's the Clippers-Spurs series is going on forever, as is the Atlanta opening round series, which shouldn't be going still, but it is.
I swear, if the Warriors are going to win it all. I know that. But if you took the Warriors out of the equation of this year's playoffs, I don't know if I would give a shit. Like at all.
Some of the series are I think are really interesting. Like the Spurs Clippers one, like that should be in the second round. There's no reason that those teams should be playing each other.
I mean, there is a reason because they have fucking rules. And
I suppose you're right.
I know Bill Simmons was saying, no, not Bill Simmons. Van Gundy was saying that.
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh, those two teams, they should never be playing each other. It's like, well, they have tiebreakers and they're different slots.
I mean, yeah, like the Spurs fucked up and like the
Spurs
the Spurs should have won the last game of the season and didn't, and like so there are penalty, there's repercussions for that, I guess, but like but what I'm sort of more getting at is that it's better basketball than the first round deserves because it's two like teams that like could conceivably go deep, and I mean I agree with you essentially that like they're all playing for second place. I mean like unless something happens to Bogut or something something like that, because I mean the whole Kevin Love injury and J.R. Smith being out for a while has definitely thrown sort of like Cleveland into some amount of
I think Cleveland could lose their next series. They're going to play
totally,
the Bulls.
I think people are trying to be like, oh well, no, they're still the favorites, obviously, and it's like no, like Kevin Love's a fucking great player. Like people sort of like to shit on him because he's not as good as LeBron, and he never will be. But like taking him off of that team does screw them to a certain
I think
extent.
he leaves that team next year anyway because he doesn't really know what his role is there, and also they don't even play him at the end of games.
Yeah,
they let him they go with like a faster squad towards the end of the game, and it's
fucking,
like
I think it must have been Mike Wilbon because it was so ridiculously wrong, but he was trying to say that it doesn't really affect them because Tristan Thompson's better than Kevin Love anyway. It's just like you are an idiot.
Yeah, let's see Tristan Thompson hit some threes, and also Kelly Olynyk should be given the MVP for the Lakers of last season because when he also, my God, he separated Kevin Love's shoulder.
Right.
It seems like it's so easy to pop Kevin Love's shoulder out of its socket. I mean, he hardly he just tugged on it a little bit, and suddenly the whole thing came out. Yeah, and so there was a rumor that Kevin Love was going to go to the Celtics.
Yeah. And
now that Olynyk dislocated his shoulder, he's probably not going to go to the Celtics.
Right.
And so basically means he's going to go to the Lakers. So basically next year you'll have Kevin Love on the Lakers, Rajon Rondo on the Lakers, the corpse of Kobe Bryant on the Lakers, and then they just wait another year to see if Westbrook's going to go there as well.
Right. I mean, I think Love probably will go to the Lakers, but at the same time, the Lakers are such a
so bad.
They're so awful now. I mean, it's great. I can't stop smiling when I'm talking about it, but they're just they're I don't know why if you were Kevin Love and let's say Cleveland goes to the finals and loses this year, you'd be like, you know what, plug me in there and we'll win it the next 2 years in a row.
You know what, if the Lakers don't get Kevin Love, if I was Kobe Bryant, I would seriously consider going to another team, even though you want to be a Laker your entire life. He's only got 2 top 3 tops years left.
Yeah.
And it's like, that team is so bad. Why would you go back there? Like, if you want to like win a championship, just sign up for some fucking.
Look at what like Popovich is doing with like Tim Duncan, and like it's such a smart like move like all around, because like now like every like aging good player is gonna say to himself, you know what, I should go play for like the Spurs, and like he'll fucking rest me like, you know, half of the regular season and piss everybody off, and then I'll get to like come into the playoffs and save the day and play until I'm 42 years old.
Didn't like Duncan have like 40 points last night?
Yeah, and like he's
like 39 years old.
Yeah, he's older than dirt.
Jesus.
Like, he's the oldest man in Jamaica.
But in some of the other series, like I swear, like they were trying to like really play up the Toronto-Washington series.
Oh boy!
And it's like, ooh, it got really heated, and it's like
that's the one series, or you know, like you know, I've been trying to like watch little bits of it here and there, and like that was the one series where, like, I don't care how much you love the Wizards or you know think that they're good. Both of those teams looked like they didn't belong anywhere near the playoffs, and like or the NBA for that matter.
And you know, I love the Celtics, but like, you know, watching the Celtics play, I'm just like, man, there's nobody on this team.
Well, I mean, like,
they've got a lot of young guys.
It was almost like a feel-good story, because like no one would have picked them to make the playoffs, like you know, by a long shot. They you know, and this is like after they traded like their, you know, arguably their 2 best players.
Yep.
And like, you know, and didn't, you know, people didn't think they got market value for them back, but they totally did. And like either that or, you know, Brad Stevens is genius. But. So
once again, I met another Warrior fan last night who was like, you know, white knuckling it through. I was just like, dude, what is wrong? I was like, you guys are great. And this one guy said, he was like, yeah, but did you see Game 3? They really could have played better in that. And you know, we can't play like that and like expect to go advance in the playoffs. I'm like, dude, you swept them. Like how you can't win more than 4-0.
Right? Yeah. Like.
So
no one in history is going to look back on that series and be like, yeah, the Warriors really fucked that one up, like winning 4-0 in the first round.
I think it's adorable that like Warrior fans they're not going to be happy until like the clock says 0-0-0 and they've won the championship.
They don't know that they're just exposing themselves to be gigantic pussies that are afraid to care.
So also this weekend we have the Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight, which we're all told that we need to care about, but like, let's be honest, like this fight should have happened 7 years ago, but both these guys were ducking each other. Mostly Mayweather was either in jail or he was ducking Pacquiao.
Right. I mean, I think both of these guys, like, I think that they have to go down like with asterisks next to their names, because like they were cowards.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, and Mayweather much more so. Like, yeah, he would love to be remembered as one of the best fighters that ever lived, I'm sure, but I'll never consider him that, because he didn't fight the other best fighter in the world, like, you know, in his prime, when he could have, like, 50 times.
I was looking up for one of my trivia questions. I was looking up the athletes that have in 2014, what athletes made the most money, and Floyd Mayweather is number 1. Yeah. And in the article, they have like what they earned in their sport in one column, and then sponsorship like money. And Mayweather made $102 million from boxing and $0 from sponsorship. Because like, yeah, like, you know, we can't have
spent $103 million on hookers.
Yeah, so I'm like, you know, even you would think like if you're even in the top 10, you should have some marketability, but like, no, a guy's like got a history of like, you know, smacking women around.
Yeah, you would think that like, like at the very least, the hotel that like puts on the fight would sponsor him, or like, you know, put his, you know, face somewhere or something like that. But I guess not.
And also tomorrow, the NFL draft mercifully starts. So
we'll report back several weeks from now when they get to the second round.
Right. And I know, like, it's weird, like the people's appetite for football in America is just so insatiable that, like, yeah, like this is a huge draw, like, for people, like the ratings for the NFL draft are like through the roof.
Yeah.
And
it's so weird that the NFL draft would like get much better ratings than like arena football or like the XFL or anything like like it's bizarre to me that like I don't know that anybody cares at all. Actually,
I actually went to a NFL draft party once, and I could only take it for like an hour and a half because I realized this is back when the teams had 15 minutes in between picks. So it's like I was there for an hour and a half, and I only saw 6 picks.
Right.
I was like, oh, shit.
You're like, okay, and then stay tuned for 14 minutes of stock footage of this guy that was just drafted.
Oh, my God.
Like, great. Like, now I get to see, fucking Jason Mariota in black and white in reverse.
Well, they do say that for NFL teams, the best way to get better is through the draft. Like, because, like,
right.
They hardly ever trade anybody in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's not like basketball where there's a lot of trades or baseball where there's a shit ton of trades. But like I guess the draft is like if you have like 4 good drafts, you should be in the playoffs.
Right.
Whatever.
Well, what about hockey?
Fuck that. All right, this is where I just let you go.
No, I was just gonna say that the Islanders lost, but my new favorite NHL player is named Pascal Cam Clutterbuck, and he plays for the New York Islanders.
That's not.
But he's like some ridiculous Canadian hick.
Clutterbuck.
Cam Clutterbuck.
Cam Clutterbuck.
From like bumfuck Ontario.
I think I read somewhere that there was a lot of like Canadian teams that were in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah, higher than usual.
Which is was really like kind of sad when I heard that because it's like I think of like hockey as Canada's game. I didn't realize how many Canadian like cities have teams.
There's maybe 8 or 9 now. Like Vancouver, Calgary, Winnipeg.
All those
Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa. This is the part where I name Canadian hockey teams over house music.
Oh yeah. This is that segment.
Admission is $30.
But it's so weird because I think of like on any like NHL team, 85% of the players have got to be Canadian.
Oh yeah, and like I remember I was tuning into a game the other day, and like they were playing playing the U.S. national anthem in like Nashville or whatever, and like the entire like crowd like had a huge American flag and everything like that, and I'm thinking like 90% of the players could give a fuck about this that's going on right now. It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, I think about it, like if you were living in Canada and like you're into hockey, so you watch all the Stanley Cup stuff, and you're just like you got to see these like American yahoos in like Tampa Bay like pretend that they like hockey.
Well, and so finally, I just want to mention that I caught like a couple seconds, like a clip from the Orioles game this morning that was played to no people.
Yep.
And it was probably the worst episode of The Walking Dead I've ever seen. Because it was just it was creepy in that way.
I was really when I heard that they were going to do that because they're playing a baseball game for no one in the stands because of the riots in Baltimore. Right. When I heard they were going to do that, I was like, man, that sounds like really cool.
Yeah,
like if you were there and just to hear that silence in a place that's usually like filled with people, it'd be really eerie.
Like somebody hits a home run and all you hear is like one guy opening a beer. Yay.
Yeah, whatever.
Like some groundskeeper just goes, yay.
All right, you want to take a break?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, this is SFBarkast, and we are at MobyDick in the cast room. All right, and we are back at MobyDick.
MobyDick.
Andrew, are you ready for the entertainment report?
Now I am, yes.
Well, today is Jerry Seinfeld's birthday.
Ooh.
And
what's the deal with that?
What's the deal with birthday cakes? And let me give you over under.
Okay.
Jerry Seinfeld, 60 years old.
Over under 60. Wow. Let's see. I'm going to say under, but only slightly.
61.
Oh.
Today.
Oh.
Man, I had no idea he was that old.
I saw him perform at Bumbershoot in Seattle in 1986, I think. So.
Really?
So that's, he was already kind of like at the top of like touring at that point. So like
Uma Thurman, over under 46 years old.
I think she's 72.
She turns 45 today.
Oh, I was close.
And who is older, Daniel Day-Lewis or Michelle Pfeiffer? They both have a birthday today.
Who's older, Daniel Day-Lewis
Or Michelle
of the
Pfeiffer.
milkshake drinking Daniel Day-Lewis's?
That's the one.
I'm gonna say that Michelle Pfeiffer is older.
Michelle Pfeiffer is 57 years old today.
Right.
And Daniel Day-Lewis is 58.
Oh. Well, I guess my milkshake has been drunk.
You've had your milkshake drunk.
That's right.
There will be no...
Put that on a T-shirt. SFBarkast, you done had your milkshake drunk.
It's a little clumsy, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. We'll work on it. How about that? SFBarkast, we'll work on it.
So have you seen any movies?
I have seen a couple of movies. I saw the Jupiter Ascending with the Channing Tatum and the Mila Kunises by the Wachowskis.
I'm still interested in seeing that.
You know what? They make a crazy, interesting looking movie. You know, when I was watching it, I was like, I don't know anything that's going on in this. I don't have a clue what's happening.
But oh my God!
But hey, it's incredible to look at. And
is it one of those movies where it's like, as long as you don't think about it too much, like, you know, you can be like, oh, it's eye candy.
Yeah, in a way, I guess. But I mean, like, there's so much that just sort of assaults you with like things you should be thinking about. But then by the end of it, you're kind of tired and you want cake. you just want to like curl up in the corner and be like,
I just want to like watch My Dinner with Andre again.
Right.
I saw Ex Machina.
Ex Machina, yes.
And
people seem to enjoy that.
Yes, it's awesome. It's great. It's like one of the best science fiction films, I think. I mean, it's probably the best, artificial intelligence movie out there. But it's really good. The ending, it's a really complex movie, but the ending, if I have any criticism, the ending seemed a little simplistic for a story that was that complex. But it's really good. My God, it's so good. There's, it's just like really enthralling from beginning to end. You know, I'm just like was totally into it.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's like all the performances are amazing in that.
Cool.
What else? Did you see anything else?
I watched. Does this count? I watched the first half of the HBO documentary about Kurt Cobain called Kurt Cobain Montage of Heck, and really, really well done. So far, and don't tell me how it ends, but so far his career's going really well. But he has some, a few little personal issues and stuff. But I'm sure he'll work those out.
Oh yeah, he's got a little problem with the heroin thing, but whatever.
Parents don't like him. He grew up in a shitty, rainy town, but I'm sure
he'll
find his rainbow one of these days.
Seems like his girlfriend's giving him the right type of support that he needs.
Yes, exactly. And now that they have a child together, they're bound to work it out. Fascinating. And there was one technique that they were using that I was really that I found interesting was that during some of the older Super 8 footage, they had somebody playing Nirvana songs sort of weird off key on a piano or something like that, and so it would take you a while to figure out what the song was, it was just sort of, I don't know, it made it a little more interesting, but
that's interesting.
Yeah,
I finished watching the first season of The Affair, and it is such a good show. But I have one. I was so after when I had one more episode to go, I was just so excited. I was I can't wait for them to watch this last episode and see how it all wraps up and stuff. Yeah. And my only criticism, and it's it was probably just that I had the wrong idea. My only criticism is that yes, there's going to be another season.
Oh shit!
When you're watching The Affair, it's so good. The performances are amazing, and it's really well written, but you want there to be some resolution, and then at the end of
not enough or
it's just at the end of the last episode you realize, oh right, next season. So it's kind of a dick tease.
Are you caught up at all on Mad Men or
yes,
like that? Because that's something where we're sort of 2 or 3 episodes away now, I think, from the
and you do get the feeling after the last episode that they're okay. Yeah, the end. You can see the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they're going to do at the end, but
Like, do you subscribe to? There's some people have the theory that well, they've told us all along how it's going to end. Like Don Draper's going to fall out of a window to his death or whatever. You know,
Oh yeah.
I think that's horseshit. If that does wind up being the ending, I will be very, very disappointed.
Andrew, tell me all of your Mad Men theories.
Well, the ones involving Kennedy or the ones involving Fidel Castro?
How you want to play the game? How old do you feel? Because I just recently saw that it is the 25th anniversary of the movie Goodfellas. How old do you feel?
Wow. 20th anniversary of Goodfellas. That is accurate.
Yeah, and let's see here.
I'm coming up on a lot of interesting 20th anniversaries, I think. Like
25th anniversary.
Oh, 25th. I'm sorry. Oh,
25th,
yeah.
All right, so here's a list of movies that came out in 1990 to make you feel old.
Okay.
Dances with Wolves.
Yes.
The Hunt for Red October.
Oh, God.
Kindergarten Cop. That makes me feel old and suicidal. Three Men and a Little Lady.
Oh, boy. Oh, they're already into the sequels by that point.
Days of Thunder.
Really? Days of Thunder?
Edward Scissorhands.
Oh,
Young Guns 2. Joe versus the Volcano. It's the 25th anniversary of Joe versus the Volcano.
I'm pretty sure that was the year that I saw 100 movies.
It's the 25th anniversary of the film Ghost Dad.
I did not see that movie. that would have been 120.
All right, so and let's get the jump on next year, just so we can make everyone feel old.
Yeah.
Then, so I know automatically 1991. For some reason that year like sticks out in my mind as far as like a really good movie year.
Okay.
Because right off the top of my head, Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. True.
The Fisher King.
One of the last, I think Silence of the Lambs might be one of the last instances where the movie that I thought was the best movie that was made that entire year won the Academy Award.
Yeah, that's happened a few times.
Yeah. For
me as well. Silence of the Lambs, The Fisher King came out that year. Slacker came out that year.
Right.
Grand Canyon, JFK.
All right. Last Boy Scout.
The number one movie of 1991. You want to guess what it was?
Die Hard 2.
Terminator 2.
Oh, that was close.
You know the number 2 movie that year was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Ooh.
Ouch.
Wow, a lot of people got suckered out of hard-earned money for that.
So next year it'll be the 25th anniversary of City Slickers.
Let's list every movie that's come out between 25 years ago and now.
We only have 8 more hours left of this.
You want to take a break and we'll come back and we can maybe do some Bad Yelp reviews and wrap it up.
Let's see, JFK. Cape Fear came out.
Let's see.
Fried Green Tomatoes. Regarding Henry.
On videotape, there was a new version of Back to the Future 3 that was released.
The Doors movie came out then, too.
At that point, you could still only get Mary Poppins on Laserdisc if you were willing to buy the Japanese version for $100.
And the movie Oscar came out, a John Landis comedy starring Sylvester Stallone.
Yes.
And I believe I was working a screening in L.A. for it.
I believe I
and
might have worked that same screening.
John Landis' wife yelled at me because they told I was working the door, so they told me, okay, don't let anyone in. We're just going to have the producer say something.
Right.
And so I stopped at the door, and people were trying to come.
And you were about to ask, even cunts?
Well,
yes, especially cunts.
So it was a stupid thing for him to tell me to do,
right.
Because oh my God, the producer goes up there and somebody walks in, he's going to get thrown off.
Right.
This guy needs everyone's undivided attention.
I'm blinded by the light that came from that small door over there.
So I was like, all right, man, I'll stop anyone who's
my gift as a director is ruined.
So I was like, I'll stop anyone who's trying to come into the theater while the producer says something. So I was standing at the door, and this crowd of people were there, and I was like, look, hey, you know what? They're just making an announcement right now. They don't want anyone walking in. So let's just like wait, and then I'll let you in a minute. And this woman just
It
goes,
seemed like a pretty reasonable. It's not like you said like, the producer's talking. Fuck off, ma'am.
well, it's like there was a bunch of people there, and this one woman just goes, oh, I'm John Landis' wife, and just like walked right by me, and I walked in, and this dude who was standing right next to her just
feel like it could be worse. It could be Vic Morrow's wife.
But this guy who was like standing right next to her just goes, God, can you believe there are people like that in the world? I'm like, yeah, can you believe John Landis is married to one of them?
John Landis killed those Vietnamese kids. Am I fired?
All right, let's take a break and come back with some bad Yelp reviews. And then
Sounds
we'll wrap
good
it up.
to me.
All right, this is SFBarkast, and we're at MobyDick in the Castro. All right, and we are back. Andrew,
do you love the nightlife?
I was as you can tell, I was a little hungover for this Barcast,
Right.
and then I just heard the disco come on, and like everything's okay.
Yeah.
I feel like disco is like this, like audio antidepressant.
Yeah, I
It's
would agree
hard
with
to
that.
be. It's hard to be like kind of like bummed out when you're listening to disco.
Exactly. Like some people take lots of vitamin C, drink water. Some people take mini Ripperton.
I just want to tell you that my therapist is a DJ.
Yeah. And last night a DJ saved your life.
Oh yeah, they're showing the video of the who is this like?
Is this mini Ripperton or
It's
am I getting love and you? Like,
I mean, she looks like Brigitte Nielsen, but all I remember from this song, the "I Love a Nightlife," I got the disco, is
I got you, Boogie.
the movie "Love at First Bite" with Diane Cannon and
most things will remind you of that.
and Richard Hamilton.
Dick Hamilton, Moby Dick Hamilton.
Was it Richard Hamilton or? Yeah.
Was it?
Yes, the guy with the tan, right?
Yeah.
Was that Richard Hamilton? Is it Richard Benjamin?
No, I don't think Richard Benjamin ever played Dracula.
Yeah.
That would have been the worst Neil Simon play ever.
Dick Benjamin. All right, so we have like some bad Yelp reviews for this wonderful disco music.
We have to do bad Yelp reviews for this place because as anybody who knows gay people or has hung around with any gay people knows, one of the things that they're best at is having bad opinions about things.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No. I can only imagine how great these bad Yelp reviews are going to be. It's going to be people who are like from out of town, like, I didn't know guys like to do that.
No, they're even better than that. So like the first one I'll read is from somebody named Jasada P. And I don't know if that's pronounced correctly or not. But the review goes as follows. This place is unbearable. You won't quite fancy it. The bartenders are mean and ugly. The drinks are overpriced and weaky tweaky. It's muggy and full of scary older men. Trust me, you'll without a doubt hate it. All right, I lied about everything. However, do stay away anyway. I hate it when it gets crowded. And in parentheses, wry laugh. And that's it.
I like to think, like, even though I know what that guy's doing, he's saying, like, hey,
follow his complex sense of humor.
Well, it's like, he's saying, like, okay, you know what? I'm going to give it a bad review because I don't want it to be crowded.
Yeah.
So he wants people to stay away. But I would like to read his review as being somebody who just kind of saw the light and had a change of heart right in the middle of writing the review. There's like, this place is awful. I hate it. Oh, but I just met somebody in the bathroom, and, like, I think I really like this place now.
That's right. This is the kind of place where, like, just, anybody will come and put their hand down your pants and, oh, my God, I changed everything I said. I love it.
I finally found a place for me. That was what, Gary R.?
This was Jesada P.
Okay, I have some dude named Gary R.
Okay, go for
I
it,
haven't
Gary R.
I haven't even proofread this first.
Oh my God.
He writes gross, just gross. If you like sticky floors and tables, filthy walls, and mysterious grimy substances smeared on your clothing and shoes, then do come back to MobyDick. By the way, who is like smearing like mysterious grimy substances on your clothing and shoes.
Yeah, and I can see
How
a
the
lot
fuck
of
does
the floor
this
right
guy-
now, and there's nothing gooey or grimy going on. So
Gary, how the fuck do you sit at a bar, okay, where the people are like rubbing stuff on you?
That's right. He just picks up the rubber mat like below the
He's like,
below the bar trench and presses it against his face.
he said, the patrons are raucous, out of control, freakish, and just made me feel uncomfortable.
Are those all supposed to be code words or something? Like,
Yeah. The frozen cocktails are quite delicious. And they are BOGO on weekends. Besides that, though, I just can't find anything redeemable about this bar. Well, Gary, I think it's great that you've decided that, like, that he needs a place where Gary's looking to have less fun. That's what I'm trying to say.
right. I bet there's a lot of bars that can accommodate him.
He should just walk into the next bar he goes to and just say, hey, let me ask you something. Do you smear mysterious substances on your patrons? Because if you do, I'm out.
I'm out. Forget it. All right, the final one is from Cynthia B. And this one just confused the shit out of me. So I'll try to read this again and piece it together, but I don't know if I can. Cynthia B. writes, as a transsexual woman, I feel pretty out of place at this bar. Unless I am totally shit-faced, then it's a so-so. So many gay guys, of course, obviously. This bar has very few women. If you are a young woman and want to go clubbing with the gay boys in the Castro, I suggest you avoid this spot. Everyone is nice, but this is the place for 30-something gay men to hang with each other.
Yeah, you know,
None of that made any sense to me at all. I think.
First off, like, this is not the kind of place. I wouldn't call this clubbing. This is a bar. It's, I mean, yeah, sure, maybe they play some house music here, and it's like, you know, it probably gets kind of crazy on the weekends, but it's like, it's not a club. Go down to Badlands, or, like, if you want to go dance, it's like, yeah, try to dance on the pool table, and somebody told me to get off. It's like, yes, of course.
Right. Excellent.
So
what's your final plugs, final analysis, final Phil's you want to?
Final analysis, Phil's you want to? Oh, by the way, I believe Final Analysis came out in 1992.
Oh, my God.
So in 2 years, we'll have the 25th anniversary of a movie that we mention every podcast that nobody's ever seen. My final analysis is, well, I didn't even bring this up before, but of the 3 pinball tables they have here, they have Champions Pub.
Okay.
And that is a very hard pinball machine to find.
Champions Pub?
Champions Pub.
What is, like, I don't understand what the theme is.
It's like an old time like bare knuckle fisticuff sort of pinball machine.
Oh, okay, all right.
And I mean, there's some parts of it that are a little, I don't know, I can't say racist, but like there's a point where like if a bar brawl like breaks out, they play like this traditional Irish music. I mean, it's not racist, but it's like oh yeah, these guys like to get drunk and like punch each other. But it's a great pinball machine. It's actually, it's a destination for me to play Champions Pub.
Nice.
And I know some of the other like pinball heads in the city feel the same way. But like, yeah, I love this place. I was talking to the bartender, and we should say the bartender has been nothing but super nice to us the whole time we've been here. And she was telling me that talking about the saltwater aquarium that they have behind the bar. Like, she was saying that she's seen the pufferfish get big like only once since she's been here, and it's usually because
like an urban myth.
Because what?
It's like an urban myth at this point.
Yeah, but I guess they have a lionfish in there as well, and the lionfish like fucks with the pufferfish, and the pufferfish doesn't like it, so he decides to get all swole.
Ah.
And I guess
that's a good argument for having the lionfish then, is to like fuck with the pufferfish and like.
I mean, I would think like that when the pufferfish gets big, it's like a big deal, you know? Like everybody just like
everybody fucking goes bananas and like runs out in the street.
I would go bananas. Andrew, when's the last time you saw a pufferfish like go bonkers?
Run out in the street going like, I guess I'm gay.
All right, Andrew, what is your final analysis, Phil Joannou, of this bar?
I like it. It's an old standard. I find it to be clean and nice and agreeable.
You don't seem to have any like mysterious substances like smeared on you.
No, well, not yet.
So the night is young.
Maybe I have to come back here at night.
They're playing Dan Hartman.
They're playing Dan Hartman. They really cranked it up from the house music to the sort of disco now. Like,
you know what's funny about this Dan Hartman song, Instant Replay, is that like isn't he the one who sang either like All by Myself or didn't he sing like Sometimes When We Touch?
God, maybe.
Or
is that? Wait, All by Myself.
One of them is like Eric Carmen.
Yeah. That's All by Myself, and then like.
But
Sometimes When We Touch, I don't know. I thought that was Eric Carmen too, but.
Dan Hartman. I think it's like Sometimes When We Touch, whatever. But anyway, so he does like 70s like soft rock power ballads, and he does like crazy like party music.
Right.
No middle of the road for Dan Hartman. That's what I've always said about Dan Hartman.
That's what everyone's already said about him.
So your final analysis is you dig it?
I dig it.
Let's see how long we can go without saying anything.
This was the one episode that just ends in silence, has everybody wondering. Like,
couldn't tell if it was over yet.
What did they go do? like I couldn't hear them leave or anything.
All right, that's our sign off.
Well, no, we gotta like stay silent for like 45 seconds and then have like a Easter egg at the end.
Okay. And be like Todd Glass. Hey, you made it. You found me in the back of the bar. Hey,
I'm wasting bandwidth.
Hey, no. Everybody thinks I'm insane.
I've got more money than common sense at this point.
I want to say I don't have any plugs, but I want to say shout out to. Everybody who performed at the Punchline last night. Sal Kalani had his going away show. Whenever I've been to a few going away shows. I'm basically like going away. Like it's not like the 25th hour and he's got to go to the joint, but it's comedians in San Francisco. Ultimately, if they get good enough, they have to go to New York or LA.
Right.
That's just the way it is. And I went to Chris Garcia's going away, and that was probably the best going away I've ever seen. But like Sal's last night was amazing too.
Good.
Chris's was hard because like he had you laughing the entire time, and then he told stories about his dad like with Alzheimer's, and so he had you crying. It was just like you're like crying and you're laughing. It's like a goddamn Jimmy V speech.
You're like, just leave already. Why are you salting the earth on your way out? All these terrible, sad stories.
Do you have any plugs?
No, just I don't know. Silicon Valley's decent. Veep is still good.
Next week, next Wednesday, at the Right Spot, Jeff Cleary's. It used to be Jeff Cleary's Trivia Implosion. Now it's Jeff Cleary's Trivia Controlled Demolition.
I see. Oh, good. Good choice changing the name.
So there should be plenty of questions about chemtrails and shit.
That's right. Well,
all right.
Yeah, definitely go to that.
All right, so that's next week, next Wednesday at 7 o'clock at the Right Spot.
All
Andrew,
right.
do you have anything else?
No.
All right. Well, this is SFBarkast. I am Jeff Cleary.
I am Andrew Louder.
And we'll see you next time. We're signing off from Moby Dick's in the Castro.